you for your volunteerism.
Thank
Item 4.2, review and update of the status of the Cultural Arts Strategic Plan. Christopher.
Good afternoon, Public Art Board. I did get a message from Danny. He's running about 20 minutes late, but he is going to join us at the forum, and we'll go ahead and proceed with that. Item 4.2 is an update on the Cultural Arts Strategic Plan. Designing Local, our consultants have submitted draft recommendations for the strategic plan, and they're currently circulated in-house for review and comment. They have 16 recommendations spread across 3 categories: public art, place-based art investments, and general arts and culture. Among the recommendations is the reinstatement of the Public Art in Private Development Ordinance with revised language based on cities with programs that continued their public art requirements, and on recent case law that is found in favor of cities with private development ordinances. We intend to have the completed plan presented to City Council at the August 16th work session and the August 19th Council meeting. And a request for implementation funding has been submitted for the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget. So that would give us substantial funding to begin a lot of the initiatives that are recommended by our consultants. I've read through the list. It looks very inspiring. I think there are really some forward-thinking projects that they're suggesting, and kind of outside of our usual wheelhouse of thinking where projects might start and end. So there's a lot of partnerships that they're suggesting we enter into that would be very, very beneficial for our program as far as expanding its reach and reaching out to new audiences.
Fantastic. Are there any questions that the board members may have?
Were there any particular partnerships that were mentioned or suggested?
Partnering with Creative Pinellas, partnering with the Parks and Recreation Department and Trails, as well as Forward Pinellas, who does a lot of our transportation studies here in Clearwater. So those are some of the natural pairings that we're seeing in some of the projects that they're suggesting.
Would it be beneficial for us to try to be at the August 16th and or August 19th meetings? Are those open to the public?
They are both open to the public. If you'd like to, I think the August 19th would be the better of the two to attend. And you would absolutely be welcome. I think it shows a strong level of support for arts and cultural initiatives. And we can, recognize our work supporters in-house as we present the findings of the strategic plan.
So the plan will be presented on the 19th?
Correct, yes. It goes on a staff level at the 16th, presented to the City Council. They can have any suggestions or recommendations, and we do a formal presentation on the 19th.
I think that would be good for us to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Would this be the proper place to suggest business partnerships with them, or are they thinking about that as something separate?
That's an additional initiative. An additional initiative, kind of expanding the reach beyond of looking for partnerships wherever they might exist in the community. It certainly is appropriate to suggest it as well, and just make sure that that's conveyed clearly.
Christopher, was the city attorney's office involved in the crafting of the review, or are they now doing a review of the statutory changes?
They're now doing a review. I submitted a staff briefing requesting the review, so that could be in process.
Okay.
So that is with them taking a look at the same kind of recommendation that the consultants are recommending.
Okay, thank you. Any other? Okay, thank you for that briefing. Moving on to item 4.3, review and status of repairs to the public art installation at US 19 and SR 60 Gulf to Bay.
Okay, so at a previous meeting, the board requested that staff investigate the process to repair the LED lights on the underdeck located at the intersection of US 19 and State Road 60, or Gulf to Bay. I consulted with various representatives of Florida Department of Transportation. Took a little bit of moving throughout their hierarchy. And I was able to speak with an engineer that recommended that the city file a community aesthetic feature application for replacement and upgrade of the lighting. Now, this is a process that they've been doing in recent years to make sure that all aesthetic features, public artwork inclusions, mural paintings, and whatnot are ensconced essentially in an application process within the DOT. Because it was a public art investment for a highway project, it was included as part of that construction. So it wasn't pulled out for a separate community aesthetic feature process at that time in 2012. To do so, we must provide engineering drawings depicting the lighting and its integration into the overpass structure. So I'm working with FDOT and the project artist to locate those original drawings from the installation in 2012. Once we locate those, the drawings will be updated to include the upgraded lighting, and we'll submit the community aesthetic feature application. As part of the agreement, the city acknowledges that it's responsible for the maintenance of the upgraded lighting. If these drawings cannot be located, we have to consider whether or not to have the lighting re-engineered and resubmitted. You know, this may be a significant cost, and these costs would exceed our usual maintenance allocation for this project. So I thought it prudent to discuss with the board to get your general thoughts on this, just in case we do run into a situation that I can later bring it back before the board if that's something that we need to do. But I hope we don't need to go down that route, that we do find these documents and are able to use those as the baseline structure.
Yeah, I think that would be the ideal, and then ultimately we have to, as you said, consider what that cost benefit is if not.
What's the likelihood that the documents cannot be located?
I don't think they would, well, it would be strange if they could not locate them.
Right.
I'm waiting on a response back from the artist as far as their personal archives of the projects that they've done. And then I imagine DOT has substantial archives going back decades. So it's a matter of process of just finding those and pulling them out. Yeah.
Yeah, I would, the only concern that I would voice is that how it was included in a roadway set, a bridge set of designs, and what a DOT archivist is interested in is the bridge design. And whether it was a standalone package or integrated into that bridge design package. So I think that's the challenge. They have plenty of paper or plenty of digital information, just finding it. Yeah.
So I'll continue work on that,
Okay.
and we'll exhaust all sources before we even begin to consider the route of re-engineering.
I appreciate that update. Thank you. Item 4.4, staff review on the grant application to Bloomberg Philanthropies for the mural on MLK and entrance to Cherry Harris Park.
Okay. On the monitors, I've got a depiction of this is the west looking east into Cherry Harris Park and North Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. I have partnered with the Neighborhoods Coordinator to cooperate and submit a grant application to Bloomberg Philanthropies as part of their Asphalt Art Initiative. This would fund a mural on the North Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue and the entrance to Cherry Harris Park, which is this half moon shape that you see on the west side of the fence here. If awarded, the grant would provide $15,000 in funding the creation of a mural to be created through an artist-led community design process. Definitely heavily favoring public interaction and input as part of the design and then later the creation process of a mural there. The project has been met with enthusiasm from the North Greenwood community and the Clearwater Urban League Coalition, who have agreed to be project partners for the creation of the mural. I will keep you updated on the status of this project and if the grant is funded, but there's definitely a very welcoming feeling from the community. The CULC, the Clearwater Urban Leadership Coalition is the group that is working for the establishment of a CRA in the North Greenwood neighborhood. So they are actually a large number of individuals that have joined together. They have a arts subcommittee that meets pretty regularly that I've started to attend and provide them updates on what's happening in the community.
Fantastic. Do we have an understanding of what the projected decision time on the grant would be?
I have asked Bloomberg. They have not replied, and they don't have a timetable on their website.
Okay.
So
All right.
it may just be a rolling. There was an application deadline
Yeah.
that we needed to meet, but there was no indication of when they would make their decisions.
Excellent. Any questions, comments? Thank you.
Mhm.
Item 4.5.
Review a report from the CAA on a signal box wrap project. Beth is here from the Clearwater Arts Alliance, and you have some printouts of their recent signal box wraps that they've completed with Public Art and Design Board funding. I also have it up here on the monitor in case anyone wants to see from afar. Let me see if I can get a better view of it. Folks at home, you're welcome.
After I prepared that one for Chris, Beth Daniels from the Clearwater Arts Alliance, after I prepared that one from our recent photographs, I updated and made sure that we have the artist name and the neighborhood and the location. So, that way you can picture the intersection, you can picture what group did these. But just to recap a little bit, if you'll recall, it's been probably maybe 14, 16 months ago, we at Clearwater Arts Alliance had an idea about how we've been doing art wrap signal boxes in the community for almost 7 years now. And different funding sources have been accessed, and some have been supported by private businesses, a whole host of things. But we felt like with the discretionary fund that's actually administered by your group, that there could be a chance to do another phase. And so this came about as a different idea, as opposed to starting with the artists who had already created an interesting image that was colorful and abstract, let's say, and we as the Arts Alliance selected them and then found a location to apply them or install them on a box. This sort of turned it on its head and said, we're going to have funding, we're then going to have neighborhoods apply to us saying, there's a signal box in or near our entrance to our neighborhood. We would like to work with an artist collaboratively and come up with a design that's unique to our neighborhood. So, and it was really interesting how this played out in the timing, because we came in for funding, there were some revisions you all suggested, we then went back, we then made the application, came up with the application process, the neighborhoods applied, your check came so that we knew we could pay for this, and the very next thing that happened was COVID started. But it was really interesting because it was very good for the artists, because when the neighborhoods were able to meet by Zoom or whatever they did, they then could proceed to pick an artist. We gave them any number of options of folks they could work with that we knew were dependable and had done public projects before. They then could go, with the inspiration and ideas of the neighborhood, go back to their studio and work on these. So almost every one of these was produced at a time when these artists were missing out on income because they couldn't do their usual thing. So it was very timely for them to keep them moving and keep them going. But as you can see, from the beach all the way out to the others, we just installed the last one in late April. And the only reason it wasn't installed about 4 months earlier was because the intersection itself and the signal box was being rebuilt. The art was ready to go, and it just needed to be sized and put on the box. So we actually had 4 different artists. 2 did 2 boxes. It just happened to be the way that when the neighborhoods responded that they liked the work or liked the concepts that that artist had come up with. And we even got an extra bang for the buck because the Beach Association was so happy with theirs, they personally paid out of their budget for a second box also in their neighborhood. So we got 7 boxes, not 6.
Excellent.
So anyway, it was great. And we would hope that perhaps, since this was so successful from the artist standpoint and the neighborhood standpoint, that perhaps we would come to you for another phase if it's well received both from the standpoint of promoting the artists and promoting beauty, especially in some of these neighborhoods that have very few art amenities. So last weekend at the Spring Branch, which is the very last one to be completed, there were, I don't know, maybe 20 people, probably at least, from the neighborhood and the community that came out for a little unveiling. They put it was really already done, but they put a ribbon around it, and we had a little ceremony for it, and the artists gave a talk. So that was real successful. So if there are any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But we spent all your money, and we spent it responsibly. We paid the artists, we paid the installer, and all 6 got done, most of them right in the middle of all the COVID restrictions. There were some interesting homeowner association meetings with everybody, 10 people spread out in a room this big with their masks on to talk about it. But it got done, so that's the point. Any questions?
Can you please share some of the feedback from the communities?
They've been really happy about them. I mean, just in general, how it gives them just a spirit of their, as you can see, they're really different. I mean, like the gladiola one, is that neighborhood used to be a farm that farmed gladiolas. So the Historical Society helped us some with some pictures and photographs, and so each of them came up with, the butterflies was a number of people in that neighborhood have these xeriscaping and Florida friendly gardens and lawns, and that was sort of what gave rise to that concept. So all of these came about in a dialogue between the artists and obviously the turtle in the nest was a beach theme. They really wanted to push awareness of environmental things out at the beach and all. So they've just been, and we've heard nothing but excitement about, we want to do some more. But anyway, that's what I know, and I'd be happy to answer if there are any other questions.
Well, Beth, on behalf of the board, thank you so much. And make sure that the Arts Alliance understands that we're very appreciative. We like to see successes in our community, and this is a great success. So.
And I think it's a way to reach out to even more.
Yes.
I mean, we concentrated a lot at the beginning downtown, but this is reaching out into all far-flung neighborhoods all over the city. I will mention one thing. It reminded me as Chris was talking about the overpass and the lighting and all that. We have very recently, through Clearwater Arts Alliance, made some headway to possibly work with FDOT, because so far all of these boxes are boxes that the city owns and controls.
Right.
So we've developed the protocols. We've had no problem with making sure the installations are proper. Obviously, all the doors and the louvers and everything has to work. You can't block any of that. They're working electronics. They got to get in them. They got to repair them, reset them occasionally. But we'd like to, because obviously you're dealing with Gulf to Bay. You're dealing with significant sections of Keene, stuff like that. We would love to be able, if we can crack that nut and get there. There's a lengthy community amenity agreement that has to be executed. But we've found the right people that are now dialoguing with us at FDOT. So maybe some more of these can go as people are going Gulf to Bay to go to the beach or whatever, that these are locations we would have loved to have done before, but have essentially not been able to crack the administrative nut of how to make that happen. So hopefully that will happen soon.
Well, thank you.
We're working on it.
Something that I really like about Clearwater Arts Alliance's approach to this, especially in our political atmosphere, is how the stuff behind the art brought people together and had them make decisions and connections with one another.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's what we don't think about a lot. We think about the art piece,
Not the process and
but the
that
process
dialogue.
that goes
Yeah.
along together
Yeah.
brings people together,
Right.
which I think is really
I mean, obviously, the image that the Lake Bellevue came up with, I mean, and there's an intersection that was painted. It wasn't the exact same artist, but they had worked together to come up with a concept that was very much the same, of the interlocking hands and that kind of thing. So that was, again, there's other outgrowths of it that we may not even know about in terms of the positivity of that dialogue. So I hope we can come back to you again and do another phase. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Thanks, Beth.
Moving on to old business, item 5.1, current public art fund balance. Christopher?
Okay, the current public art fund balance is $156,715 and is available for commissions, special initiatives, and grants.
Excellent. Going up. Going up.
Yeah, it is increasing.
Alrighty, item 5.2, review of grant funding request by the Clearwater Historical Society.
Okay, Allison Dolan is here this afternoon to talk to you about an artwork project that is under development. And so we will have an updated application as more details are determined for this project. But we just wanted to have her get a chance to get on the board's radar to propose a future application that will be coming up for grant funding. So I will
Okay.
turn it over to Allison.
How are y'all doing? I'm Allison Dolan, I'm president of the Clearwater Historical Society. Dolan. It's a real Greek, it's a real Irish name. But I'm president of the Clearwater Historical Society. If you haven't been there yet, it's at the old South Ward School. We have 6 buildings and 5 acres. So a lot of people are like, why didn't you open the whole thing? Because I don't have a lot of money. But we did open up the 1906 building in the front. We have the, on the north room is the history of Clearwater. And on the south room is our revolving. Half of it is about the schools in the area that we have gotten. And then the other, right now we have the Women of Clearwater. September we'll do the Let's Eat. So we've kind of moved everything back a year. So it's kind of worked, you know.
Yeah.
Our assignment's kind of helping. We're run by volunteers only, so a lot of them like the extra time. But if you see here, the 1906, he has a better picture than I had. The 1906 building is the gray one in the front. Also, the reason we painted that way was we stripped the paint in the back, and that was the original color of the stone. Unless y'all give me a blank check, I can't strip that real paint off, so we made it look like that. But the building behind there is a 1912 building. It was built for the first high school in Clearwater, and it has that huge blank space. It's an Art Deco building, so when you go up close to it, you see that it looks like it has a frame. So Beth Daniels and I were standing there, we're like going, we could just have framed art right here on this building. So we've been working on this for over a year, and we've been talking to different artists, and we're thinking it's going to cost about $10,000 to $12,000 to do this because it is a 2-story building. But by putting a frame around it, the board has come up with a design to kind of do like a postcard. Right now we have 4 postcards that we've taken and put them on huge banners that we've put throughout the campus so you can kind of see what it looks like. If I had time, I'd paint them on there, but the banners are working for right now. But that application right there is going to be 2 stories. We've been trying to get a better price on it, but everything's gone up and down and up and down. So we just want to let you know that's what we're working on all the time. And you can see that, and we know, you can see that from all angles. And at nighttime, we actually have 2 spotlights that are already on there. That's really for safety, but at the same time, we'd still be able to see it at night. Does anybody have any questions?
Is that area, I haven't been to the site.
Okay.
Is it accessible or just visually accessible?
It's visually accessible. The museum is open right now only on Saturdays from 10 to 2. Monday through Friday, it's by appointment. We have people there usually from 9 o'clock until about 4. So if you call and say, can I come in, they're there. We don't leave the gates wide open because
Yeah,
You know.
I understand.
it's, but it is 5 acres, and we have people there all, we have a garden club that comes out and they do all the plants. We have, and then we have some other people that come out. It's all volunteers, so there's usually somebody there, usually from 9 o'clock until 7.
Yeah.
So if you were to say, I want to come at night, I have 2 women that they work
Yeah.
full time, and they're the nighttime ones. So.
Yeah, the reason that I bring it up is I've traveled to other communities, Austin and Nashville, all that have mural programs, and there's an energy of people seeking out the murals
Yes.
to get their photo
Taken
on
with
their
them.
vacation.
Right.
And
So but they're coming to the museum, yes,
Yeah.
you'll be able
Yeah.
to do that. As we get more volunteers, we can open up more
Right.
days, it'll be more days, but right now, like I said, we're pretty much open, but if you were to come, we're there.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we let you in. Visually though, the
It's-
good,
it's
the good news
accessible.
is for us,
Yeah.
is that people sit there at the light.
Right.
So when they're sitting at the light from Druid, it can go all the way past our museum.
Mhm.
So it gives them something to look at.
Yep.
You know, and coming this way, you can see it both ways.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Moving on to item 5.3.
Review a update on the Clearwater Police Department Substation Number 3. This is the building from an architectural view as well as aerial, indicating the placement of the artwork site in relation to the public entrance from McMullen Booth Road, and then the overall dimensions on the bottom of the wall that is being recommended for artwork to be included on that site. The call to artists resulted in 73 qualified applicants for the creation of wall-mounted, low or sunken relief designs that capture and present the values of the Clearwater Police Department, which include dedication, dependability, pride, safety, service, and trust. I will pursue a range of dates with the selection panel to gather and review the submittals and select 3 finalists for a site-specific design. So that one, this particular project has gone a little slower than I had hoped, but I'm working to get that back up to speed and get us moving along in the selection process. Board member Seiler is on our selection panel, and I am working with the Countryside High School to have representatives be present on that panel as well, since they are the nearest neighbors to the site.
This is the project where it's under there and it had the appearance in the initial architect drawings that there might be benches, but then they decided to move that. Is
No,
my
that's
memory
the
correct, or is
fire
that a different
station.
one?
That's
Okay.
a different
Yeah.
project.
Okay.
That's on the beach.
This one is basically the public entrance facing wall. So as soon as people come into the facility, this wall is directly in front of them.
Okay.
And actually fronts the public parking for the building as well.
That's right, that's right.
So it's right there.
Excellent. Any other questions?
We have so many.
Hmm.
We have so many.
I know.
It's good.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Welcome.
Item 5.4. Fire Station 46. This is your,
Okay.
Here's the benches.
A call to artists will be released on June 16th with the deadline of Monday, July the 19th. This call to artists will specifically focus on an independent tower structure to be situated between the fire station and the sidewalk fronting Mandalay Avenue. Glass art and backlit art are highly desired for this site. This will allow for the artwork to be identified and, the call to artist process will allow for artwork to be identified and clarification on the integration of the artwork into the site ahead of the final stakeholder and permit review in the design process of this facility. So this is an older rendering that was presented. The artwork that you see there, which we were referring internally as the napkin, was the placeholder site for the artwork. I will bring up a more updated rendering here. This is a more current rendering. The palm tree that you see there will be transported to a different area on site so that the tree will be remaining within the construction of the building. The red box that you see there is the determined location for a pad to be created with access to the sidewalk for the artwork installation. Hookups for lighting, LED illumination will be added into the design so that the artwork will be visible in the evening hours and will be a prominent feature for people to look at as they're at the traffic intersection of Mandalay and Bay Esplanade, which that intersection backs up quite a bit.
okay.
Very exciting.
All righty. And who is our board member sitting on? Oh, Ms. Sherry. Okay. Excellent. Well, good luck.
Thanks.
We can move on to item 5.5.
Okay. Review and update on Fire Station 47. I've met with the project team on May 27th to discuss the overall design of this project and potential locations for public artwork. The southwest corner of the fire station presents the most prominent, visible, and accommodating site for the artwork. This fronts Hercules and is a highly trafficked road. The staff has been in contact with the art department at Clearwater High School, who have indicated an interest in having students be part of the public art process. This is highly supported by the fire department and meets a key component of public input in the public art design process. So we'll involve them. The call to artists will ensure that the artist applicants are aware of the desire to have that portion be part of the design process. This wall that you see is the southwest corner wall directly to the south of the apparatus bay where the engines would be leaving and departing for their calls. We had originally been looking at the northwest corner where you see the monument sign and the large 47, but determined that site to be too crowded with a lot of visual other items at the site. So we took a look at the building in total, found this to be the most accessible and highly visible location of the construction project, and also presents us with a pretty wide array of applications to the site, whether it's painted, whether it's adhered, mounted, mosaic, gives us a lot of different media and installations to consider, which opens up our call to artists to a lot of potential artist recommendations.
Do the members of the fire station have a preference?
On the site or the media?
The media?
No.
Media and/or content?
No, they do not. Not at this time. They will be part of the selection process, so they'll have an input as far as the overall creation of the call to artists, as well as some of the informational data that we include as the desired themes and elements of the artwork.
All righty. Thank you. Item 5.6.
Review and update on Crest Lake Park.
How are those plans?
All right. Project artist Donald Gialinella is proceeding with the design of his sculptures featuring the wildlife of Crest Lake Park. On the screen before you is an example. This is the dragonfly that'll be located in the southeast corner of the park. Donald recently contacted me indicating a delay in the project of approximately 1 month due to the illness of his designer, requiring him to secure a replacement designer. This is to engineer the drafting files for the actual printing and design of the artwork. He anticipates that the project will proceed again by June 9th, yesterday, with an updated completion date of July 16th, 2021. I've reached out to Dawn for a status update as of today, and we'll keep the project moving along.
All right. So that is his design side, and then he's got to go to fabrication?
Correct.
Okay. And our anticipated install is still this year?
Oh, yes, yeah,
Okay.
this summer.
Okay.
We anticipate the latter half of July, beginning of August. So he anticipates being complete about July 16th, about a 2-week time frame as far as getting the site up to spec to accommodate the artwork, and then we'll move from there.
So the pads haven't been installed yet?
They have not, no.
Okay, all right.
Just waiting on the
Sure.
final
Okay.
dimensions.
Okay, thank you. The last item that we have under old business is 5.8, an update on the creation of an online mural form.
Okay. Oh, wait, did we have? Oh, 5.7.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Update on the downtown mural program, Phase 2.
Okay, our first mural of Phase 2 has been completed. Doss finished his mural on the east facade of 701 Franklin Street and received very good public feedback. It took him about 2 weeks to complete this. He and a local muralist, Carlos Culbertson, who also goes by Zulu Painter, completed the design on the building. Even from the early layout of the design, people were coming up, taking photographs and selfies with the mural. I've noticed when I go out there that a lot of people are stopped looking at the work while they're at the stoplight. So it's really brought a lot of vibrancy to that location. This Saturday, there's going to be a market in the field that is right in front of the mural. It'll be on the corner of Court and Myrtle. It's the Market Marie this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. The second mural in the series will be painted by Cecilia Loesa of St. Petersburg, and that's set to begin on Saturday, June the 19th. We have made the arrangements with traffic operations to close the intersection down for painting over the weekend, with reopening, painting on Saturday, curing, drying on Sunday through the evening, and then opening again on early Monday morning. This is the intersection as we see it currently. This is facing east on Cleveland Street, intersection of Cleveland and Garden. And this is Cecilia's proposed design. She's using a material that is capable of being stained to a number, or tinted rather, to a number of different colors, so the fidelity of this design color and the paint itself will remain as close as possible to that. It gives her the ability to do a lot of painting with a durable, non-slip material that she doesn't have to constantly mix the colors as she's going, which will lead to a faster installation, giving more time for setup and hardening. But in a test that we did on the site, this material was able to have a second coat of paint over it within 10 minutes of application.
Holy cow.
So it's a very fast cure time, which lends itself to being able to open the intersection rather quickly and get traffic moving through that area. We are going to have a time-lapse photography as well as drone photography going through the intersection as is created. We're also going to have drone photography of 701 Franklin of Doss's completed mural, and those will be hosted on downtownclearwater.com. We're investigating the use of a company called Pixel Sticks. They are currently employed down in St. Petersburg for Shine. It's a cell phone application that if you tap your phone to the artwork label, it'll take you to the hosted site, which gives you details and information on the creation of the artwork, and features the ability to host images and video. So we'll be able to upload all of our different features of the work within that application structure.
Am I hearing correctly that this entire thing can be painted in one day?
Yes. There's going to be 5 painters
Without rain.
out there.
Without rain?
Without,
Assuming, yes. Without rain.
yeah, that's right.
She's going to have a team of 5 out there.
That's good.
So it will move rather quickly. The street itself, too, the intersection has a lot of those segmented features cut into the pavement already. So she'll be making use of those lines that are existing and, creating a few extra ones in there as well to create the gradient. But the larger infrastructural pieces are cut into the street. So she's able to not have to lay out as much with taping and get into painting rather quickly.
Right. 2 questions. First, the Doss mural is absolutely incredible. We went and watched them paint one evening, and it was lovely. And they're super nice. Doss and Zulu Painter, really outstanding. With the Pixel app, would Clearwater Arts Alliance be able to tag into that with the Signal Box project, so that way they produce some videos to go along with, like, artist interviews of the people that did the Signal Boxes? Would that be able to work for that access as well with the Pixel app?
Within the CRA core, yes. It's going to be a pilot program of the CRA. So a lot of the signal boxes that are on the current Arts Walk will be included under that umbrella. So we'll have the dumpster murals, storm drain murals, murals proper, and the signal box murals as well, as in addition to the public art installations that we have downtown.
Awesome.
So, yes.
I'm excited about that too.
It's a very cool app.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm glad that you guys picked it up and moved it forward.
Thank you.
And we should be, even looking to invest, I would suggest, in some of our dollars in expanding that to all of the public art that, that this comes before this board and is,
Absolutely.
it is just so powerful when you can walk up and do a QR code or, tap it and
Yeah.
get some information.
The other really cool thing about too is some of them were accessible for folks with sight impairment or
Right.
other issues. So
Yeah, an ADA accomplished, yeah. Very cool. 5.8, again?
Review and update on the creation of the online mural forum. With increased activity in the creation of murals in the downtown core, the CRA has created an online mural forum to connect artists and downtown property owners. It's basically a forum that has two distinct message boards, one for artists seeking mural sites and one for business owners seeking muralists. It's monitored by city staff and is a testing ground for a larger citywide mural initiative, linking property owners within the entire city to muralists that are looking to create murals for people seeking them. It is up and available on downtownclearwater.com now. And again, this is another test program that's being piloted by the CRA. A portion of my time is dedicated to the CRA projects and placemaking initiatives within the district. So the CRA runs from the waterfront to Highland Avenue, and then north to south, Drew Street to Chestnut. So it's all contained within that kind of winding bit of land. And so that is a special zoned district that they're able to spend funds on beautification and enhancements to the design and development of that area.
All right.
Quick questions.
Yeah.
So how long do we think this will be in test mode? And once it's done with test mode, will it be expanded past CRA boundaries?
First part, about 6 months or so. I'd like to see some use and interaction on it to find out how that's going and make any tweaks if necessary. From that point on, yes, absolutely. Want to open it up to as basically the geographic boundaries of the city so that residents and business owners can make use of it.
Thanks.
All right, moving to item 6. Christopher, do you have a report or have we exhausted you?
No, I've actually got an update on some non-public art initiatives, basically arts and culture that I thought would be interesting to the board. Right now, with Imagine Clearwater proceeding and August being the current target date for the most current gross maximum cost, the GMP, gross maximum price, sorry. That is August. I am queuing up a call to artists that'll be issued internationally to outline the sites and locations for desired public artwork within Coachman Park's the Imagine Clearwater / Coachman Park footprint. So that is ready. Once I'm given the go-ahead, I will release that and begin that process. This will be sort of a larger review than we typically would do for a project because of the prominence of this particular site. So there will be a bolstered public interaction portion to ensure that people have access and are able to review and comment on that process. There's a citizen in our audience that would like to speak on Imagine Clearwater, so I wanted to present the ability for them to come up and speak to the board.
Before we start that, you say that you've got it queued up. How many locations are in your overall? Are you identifying each location or?
So the
General.
designers have place-held 13 locations throughout the park that would be suitable for hosting artwork. Looking at it as far as 2 monumental size, and then a number of smaller installations, and then areas for rotating or sculpture garden style artwork. So we have a diversity of collection within the site. We can continue a lot of the initiative that Sculpture 360 has brought to downtown, and keep that rotating feeling of energy through pieces that will change on an annual to biannual basis.
Okay. Yes, we'd love to hear from you.
Hi. I'm Teresa Brown-Boson. I'm going to read from my little phone here so I remember everything. I just want to say good afternoon. Thank you. I'm a visual artist from California, Oregon, and Washington states, living in Clearwater since 2019. My husband, Peter Boson, here is a jazz pianist, and we're excited to see the developing plan for Imagine Clearwater. I'm here today to ask what the word imagine actually means in this community. How will this community engage beyond spectators or passive recipients in this new vision? As an art educator, I also know the value of participation and engagement, as well as the commitment to art and the value it brings to a community by expanding the minds and possibilities of emerging artists and by bringing those talents forward to share, inspire, and enrich our neighbors and our city. Archaeology has proven art survives cultures and civilizations. It's an essential part of human existence. I have spent over 40 years on the West Coast, and I've come to believe in the bridges that I know can be built to include all of us, artistically, socially, and environmentally. Many people can't afford to take families to high-priced facilities to expose their children to art, science, or educational opportunities. How can we serve all our neighbors' needs? How do we make this available and affordable to all our community while making sure we're paying our creative instructors at these facilities a respectful professional wage? What's the possibility of a free use space maintained by the city for new, established, and emerging creatives, poets, dancers, musicians, visual artists, and crafters who wish to volunteer in Clearwater and share their talents with the public? Can these artists perhaps put out a tip box like buskers, street musicians, so the public can show appreciation? By the way, are there street musicians in Clearwater? We haven't seen them. Another question, is there interest on the part, Let me go back 1 second, excuse me. Is there interest on the part of the art and design members in this community to have art education for families through perhaps an Impression 5 type art museum? I also think we could expand and support what CMA is doing with the marine science with a focus on environmental health and educational training about the importance of good stewardship in our marine environment, encouraging feedback from our neighborhoods. I keep losing myself, sorry. To solve our ongoing trash and waste problems and their environmental impact on our beautiful state. Clearwater, it isn't just a name of a city, it's a vision of a pristine, healthy, forward-thinking city. We have an opportunity in this city with Imagine Clearwater to become a world-class leader for the arts and marine science by innovating, educating, and engaging all of our leaders, neighbors, and businesses in making the word imagine our signature identity for a better Clearwater. Thank you for giving me your time and attention, and I look forward to a discussion about the questions and ideas I've raised today.
Thank you, Teresa. We appreciate you coming
Thank you.
forward and providing your comments. As Christopher has identified, as part of the call to artists, there's going to be more of a public interaction than typically.
Right.
You know, this is a generational project for the city.
Right.
And all eyes are on it. And
Yeah, I know, it's exciting.
So
Yeah, it's great.
that'll be part of the process coming forward. So
Great.
Thank you for
All right, thank you so much.
providing your comments.
Thank you. And just to give a little historical context as well, one of the existing pieces that we have in the Coachman Park development area is entitled Middens. It was created by artist Cliff Garton. And as part of the design and selection process, we held 2 large public feedback sessions to gather input as far as the direction and intent of the work. It morphed a lot from the original genesis of wanting to pay homage to the uses of the site. In the end, the artwork that was created encompasses the uses of historical, current, and environmental of the Clearwater waterfront. The images that you see as far as the work are shells, which pays homage to the estuarine site of Clearwater Harbor as a marine area for the basic diversity, biodiversity that we have here in Clearwater. It pays homage in the shape of the mound to the Midden Mound of the Tocobaga, who were the first residents of the Clearwater and Tampa Bay area, as well as the shape of the shells that can be also interpreted as a billowing sail to the current and recreational use of the site for boating and the boating culture and history of that here in Clearwater. So it did expand in its influence because of that public information process. And we want to make sure that that's included as well in the development of what we see in the future for Imagine Clearwater and Coachman Park, of really getting that investment and context that can be created through public artwork.
I was happy to see it represented well in the design fly-throughs. And I think it's in the same location, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent.
Well, actually, it is being moved and reconstructed based on the plans that were
Okay.
designed by the artist. So
Okay.
it'll be exactly the same, just about 30 yards to the north.
Okay, all right. Couldn't tell from the fly-through, but I was happy to see it
Yes,
survive.
they'll be there. Mhm. As far as other items in the director's report, we've got more murals for downtown in the works. Currently, I am working with the owners of Station Square Park Garage, which is the garage you see there, to have a mural enhance that. This would be a partnership between the CRA, the city, and the private owners, private business of the site. So that would give us a public-private partnership, if you will, a triple P, and really enhance that building for the cultural and entertainment events that are held in Station Square Park. We are doing a live painting at the Market Marie this Saturday. 2 of the Jersey barricades that are on the corner of Myrtle and Court Street will be decorated by an artist who will be painting live that afternoon. And that will remain through the run of the market, which will go into the fall. We are partnering with the Clearwater Arts Alliance to rotate out the Municipal Services Building garage cabinets and issue a call to artists for emerging artists, as well as artists that are coming up through the St. Petersburg College program, showcasing their work and giving them additional exposure. The Aging Well Center Gallery is now reopened with artwork by Tony Blue. I am working on a group show slated for mid-July. This is artwork featuring artists in the Tampa Bay community aged 50 and up, as part of the mission of the Aging Well Center to support and showcase the work of our artists that are working in possibly their second act of life, if you will. 50 and up is quite a wide net as far as applicants that we've received. So we have a good wealth of diversity of artwork to choose from.
Gracefully put.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm getting close to it myself. So let's see. We've entered into a partnership with Sandy Lane Elementary to exhibit students' work at the Municipal Services Building.
This will be work that's created over the course of the year. We'll be starting out with students that are creating over the summer and repurposing, or rather rededicating the hallway on the the west side of the building as a public exhibition space. So currently it's a static display of Clearwater Jazz holiday posters. We will find a new site for them and return to scheduled programming of artwork throughout that area. The Mercado and Cleveland Street Phase 3 is under development. This will be a public art project funded by our Percent for Art ordinance. I'm working with the engineering department and the CRA on a robust public participation program ahead of construction. Because this area will be under construction for quite a while due to the expansive nature of upgrading Cleveland Street, we want to make sure that there are plenty of opportunities for enhancing the area through aesthetic features. Some of the fencing and screening that's put up on the construction fence can be repurposed as artwork installation, and then really communicating with the community to find areas that the public uses and interacts with and provide enhancements there as well. We also are partnering with the Hispanic Outreach Center to form a stakeholders committee or an advisory committee to handle a number of different topics on the construction, but also include the design of the public art elements that will be part of the Mercado and the obelisk at 5 Points, which is at the intersection of Cleveland Street and Gulf to Bay. And then met yesterday with the CRA on placemaking initiatives for downtown during Imagine construction, looking at kind of different ways of bringing a little bit more arts and culture to the area while it is preparing for Imagine Clearwater. A number of different art interventions that we've seen in other cities of invigorating public space, using smaller scale projects that are tactfully placed to interact with audiences and bring a little bit more of that feeling of finding and happening upon artwork as people go about their daily lives and use the public corridors to circulate and move around. And then one of the large items I wanted to update you on is I'm currently working on a agreement for exhibition of the works of Clyde Butcher. We're currently focused on retrofitting the library, both the Carnegie and Osceola galleries on the side of the chambers here, as well as the cafe area that faces west, to display and exhibit the works of Clyde Butcher as part of his Everglades exhibit. There are a number of large format works, 6 feet in length, of images created and taken in the Everglades National Park, which syncs up very well with the 75th anniversary of the park that'll start in 2022. So we're able to partner also with the library to provide a range of public programming, and we will have a opening talk with Clyde Butcher himself. He'll be up here to present as part of that.
That's exciting. Thanks.
So lots and lots happening right now. I'm very glad to be as busy as I am, even though it does require some changing of gears quite often. It's really a happy experience to be part of all that's happening right now in arts and culture in our city, and looking into the next phase as we roll out our cultural arts strategic plan. And while I was sitting, I was just remembering that we haven't also welcomed Brianne. This is her first meeting. She is our representative from the Clearwater Arts Alliance. You want to introduce yourself, Brianne?
Sure. My name is Brianne Roberts. I have lived in Clearwater basically my entire life. I work as a locksmith for my parents, and this is my passion, though, so I'm very excited to be a part of this.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering.
Thank you, board, for bearing with me on a rather lengthy meeting.
Well, we're all coming out of COVID, and we're ready to run. So it's an exciting time. That's the full agenda. And it's good to be back and seeing a lot of progress. Moving to item 7, are there any board members who wish to be heard? Any items?
I had a question for Christopher about the Clyde Butcher. Is there, as part of projects like this, is there a standard reach out to local colleges, high schools that would be interested in those particular things?
As far as marketing,
Marketing and I'm probably speaking in John's wheelhouse, but I would imagine that there'd be people in the humanities and as well as in the arts program at St. Petersburg College who would be interested in bringing their students and being part of that, as well as the high schools.
yes, we're going to have quite a bit of public outreach as far as advertising and then making the show available to people to come and see it. Being in the library, it gives us a great space to have walk-in traffic as well as people that are happening upon the space. And we can also make arrangements for larger classes to attend as well and get the artwork experience, if you will.
And the other thing you were mentioning, talking about options to bring, other options to bring culture to Clearwater, and I was also thinking about some of the things Teresa said. What are we, and maybe this is a question for the board as well, what are we doing as far as music?
So, bring my answer up. The board is traditionally focused on the creation and installation of public art projects that are commissioned through the city. However, public artwork can take many different forms, including dance, music, performance, spoken word, poetry, etc. That is an option for incorporating those into special initiative projects, into projects that are funded with partnerships with other organizations. I'm happy to report that our consultants, as part of the strategic plan, have included opportunities for having music and performance-based artwork incorporated into some of our initiatives that they're recommending. And so if they remain as they are, I think we'll be seeing quite a bit more investment as far as from either the city, the CRA, or the Public Arts Board into projects that support those kind of diverse media forms.
With the world opening back up again, are we along that line? Are we anticipating the Friday music Cleveland Street to come back at the end of the hot weather season?
So Blast Friday has not been extended. However, as Coachman Park and Imagine Clearwater is under construction, we'll be looking at, and this is me speaking, we as far as the city will be looking at opportunities to work with established partnerships as far as Ruth Eckerd Hall and the Capitol Theater, working with Clearwater Jazz Holiday, and working with our arts and cultural organizations and private events themselves to provide increased opportunities of events downtown as we get back more towards a event hosting frame of mind, post-COVID. The Jazz Holiday has had a good amount of success with having scheduled different concerts in Station Square Park and socially distanced pods, if you will. People could buy pods and tables and experience outdoor entertainment. That's definitely something that the Special Events Division is looking at. How do we kind of arrange ourselves in a way that is sensitive to our current conditions, but also revives having outdoor events for the public to engage with in the city. So I think what we'll see is not so much of the large scale yet, but working kind of towards that into the future.
Excellent. Any other items for board members to be heard? Do you happen to have anything else for us, Christopher, or have you exhausted us?
Tapped
We
out.
actually have.
I was going to say something. Our board has
Please.
decided to
come up to the microphone, please.
I talk really loud, so I think nobody can hear me.
Well,
Our board had decided on Monday that we're now going to start a small music at our place. Since we have 5 acres, and we figured out now we can do that. And it'd be like bring your own plate, and then we'll have food trucks and things like that. And to have local musicians come and play. Haven't worked out all the details yet. It's like it's been a 3-week thing that we started planning, but since you started talking about it, I figured I'd let you know that we are looking at it because we figure we have all this space, we might as well use it.
that would be a
So-
good activation. Thank you.
Yeah. It's like,
I would suggest too, that you, since you've got a school.
Yeah.
South Ward, that you think about Pinellas Youth Symphony.
that was on our list.
Good, yeah, they
Yeah, we-
perform and they rehearse at Ruth Eckerd Hall, so they
Yes.
can be close as well.
So we figured when it gets a little bit cooler, but was still, we've already had like a couple bands that have already stepped up and said we'll do it, and it's just now we got to work with the logistics because the parking that we use is the 2 churches, and we have to look at their calendar to make sure we're not going to interfere with theirs. They let us use their parking as long as we don't knock them out. So, and then there's the whole day thing. Like we promised them our parking on Thursdays, so it's like, okay, what day do you have it that doesn't interfere with everything? So those logistic stuffs we're still working out. So, but I was like, well, while you're talking about it, might as well tell you.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is the most audience we've had in
Years.
years,
Years.
so we appreciate it.
We welcome it.
Not hearing any other questions, I will adjourn our meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.